Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Kamper Report. The Bills, I still don't have out of the top 10. I mean, the NFL this week kind of got a little bit crazy, but I still don't have the Bills out of the top 10. I will explain my reasons after this. After a crazy week in the NFL, I'm going to explain my reasons for all of it. The Bills, the Patriots, why the Packers are at number 3. I will explain it all, but just stay tuned for that. And here we go with the intro. Hope you guys enjoy another show of the another episode of the Kamper Report. So here we go. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. You are watching the Kamper Report Live. We have a new guest today. Good. So, as you guys know, I have the Bills at number 10. We'll just get right into it. The Bills are still not that. The Bills are still going to be number 10, in my opinion. I think they could not stop the Patriots run game. But I just think that the Bills are a good team that need respect. And at the end of the day, they were playing well against the Patriots. It was just a really hard game because the Bills' strength on offense. Let's start with the offense. I'm going to try to go quickly with this show, but let's start on the offense for the Bills. The Bills' strength, I've got a bad shadow. The Bills' strength on offense is throwing the football. And when there's so much wind, I don't know if a lot of you guys saw it. The Bills threw the football. They like throwing the football, but there was so much wind in that game that it's hard to throw the football when you have so much freaking wind. So at the end of the day, I think, Josh Allen, 15 for 30, 145 yards. That's not a normal Josh Allen stat line. Offensively, when you have a game like this where there is literally so much wind, it's hard to control. When you have a game like this, when there is literally so much wind, it is hard to control. When you have a game like this, you have to rely on your run game. And obviously, the Patriots' run game has been very good this year. But the problem with the Bills is when it comes down to this type of game, the Bills aren't able to live because their strength is the pass game. But when the wind is so strong that your passes are getting knocked around when you throw the ball, when throwing the ball isn't guaranteed because the wind will probably blow it somewhere and it'll get knocked off the mark. So when the wind is so strong, you have to kind of rely on your run game to bail you out of things because your quarterback's not going to be able to throw it as accurately because of the wind as he usually would. So the Patriots in this game automatically had an advantage. Josh Allen didn't play. 15 for 30, that's not great, but you could totally tell it was the wind. But it just comes down to the run game in this game. And the Patriots, I'm looking at it right now, they averaged like 5 yards a carry. Damian Harris had 111 yards. So this team, the Bills team, was getting gashed defensively. And so, the Patriots, Mac Jones almost set a record, 2 for 3, 19 yards. He only passed it 3 times. So they were able to run the ball effectively, and the Bills couldn't stop the run. And that's really the thing at the end of the day that killed them. It really did. It killed them tremendously, to a point where, your team now is at an automatic disadvantage because, like I said before, their strength is throwing the ball, and now you have to run the ball effectively. It's not going to work. So, obviously, their team's not very good at running the ball, and their top carrier ran it 3.5 times, 3.5 yards per carry. So, that's obviously not great. So, you're already at a disadvantage. Obviously, the Bills, they would have won this game. They missed a few field goals because of how the wind was. So, they would have won this game, but it was not a favorable game for them. And hey, they couldn't run the ball. The Patriots, it was basically a game where whoever ran the ball best would win this game. And the Bills couldn't stop the run. It was a very defensive game. The Bills couldn't stop the run. They had opportunities. I mean, they were in the red zone. I was like, at one point watching the highlights, how in the world did the Bills lose this game? Because at one point, they were in the red zone twice in the end, and they could not convert and score. So the Bills have problems, and the Bills are not going to make it far in the playoffs because bottom line is they can't run the ball effectively. And if you can't do that, you're not a top level contender. And I mean, if you rely on if your run game, if your pass game, if your defense is continually getting gashed in the run game, you're not a good team. So I love what the Bills are doing here, but they are not a top contender. I'm going to put them at number 10, but the Bills are not a good team at this point because they can't run the ball and they keep getting gashed. So that's who I got at number 10. That was a long-winded answer, but I had a lot to say on the Bills. Number 9, obviously, as you guys have, the Chargers. This team put an absolute beating on the Bengals. It was looking like it was going to be a good game. So the Chargers are like beating them 17-0, the Bengals. And then all of a sudden, the Bengals start to come back. And at one point, it was 20-13, I believe. Chargers were winning. They were starting to slip away. And I believe at one point it was 24-23. Then Joe Burrow had a pick 6, and it was all out from there. The Chargers, I believe if they can be consistent, the Chargers can be a top 3 team in the AFC. If the Chargers if their offense against the Bengals looked like their offense we all expected them to look like. They looked like a offense that nobody could stop them. Their defense was absolutely incredible. If the Chargers can just keep this, which they haven't been able to, and this is why the Chargers are still number 2 in the division, because they haven't been able to keep up the level of consistency that we would like to see them keep up. They just haven't been. They've been very up and down. They've been very inconsistent. And so against the Bengals, they had a great outing with the offense. The offense was rolling. But if you can consistently do what they did against the Bengals, this team could be a very, very interesting team in the air. And I mean, Justin Herbert was playing lights out. So obviously they almost blew this lead. But if you can really just, I don't know how else to say it. If you can do this type of play all season long, you're going to be a top contender team. They just haven't been able to find themselves yet. I think this was the start of that this week, and hopefully they can continue it in coming weeks. But this was a good start. At number 8, we've got the Rams. This team, I didn't have in my power rankings. I believe it was 2 weeks ago or whatever. They're a very interesting team, but they beat the Jaguars, and I took a deeper dive into the Rams with Jake Ellenbogen. Check out that was a super good channel. Jake Ellenbogen, everyone, great guy. Anyways, we were talking about the Rams, and I mean, he believes that they are on track. Destroyed the Jaguars. Now the Jaguars suck, but they beat them 37-7. The Rams are back on track. They're still an 8-4 team. I don't think they're going to win the division, but if they can, again, Odell Beckham, every game, you're looking at it, every game gets more targets, more catches. It's crazy, really, to think of it. This game he didn't have a great game. He only had 2 catches, but he had quite a few targets. The game before that against the Green Bay Packers, he had like 5 catches. So the 3-game losing streak, I personally believe was it was a hiccup in their season. Personally, Odell Beckham is starting to get way more targets. Matthew Stafford's starting to play better. And at the end of the day, you're looking at a team that finally Von freaking Miller is able, they're starting to figure it out with all the pieces that they brought in. Offensively, they're starting to figure it out. So this was a really get-right game against the Jaguars for the Rams, and They're starting to get it more to Odell Beckham. They're starting to use their weapons that we hadn't seen them use in the 3-game losing streak, and that's gonna be key for them going forward. And like I said, if they can keep doing that, they could be a top contender. But that's why I got the Rams back in the top 10. I think they're 8-4. They'll probably be a wild card team, but who cares really? They are a top contender if they're distributing the ball, giving it to Odell, and they're starting to figure things out. I said to Jake Ellenbogen on Tuesday, this is a team that really, it's kind of like the Lakers. This isn't a team that is looking to win now. They're looking to win in the playoffs because they know if all of their weapons, Von Miller, Odell Beckham, if all of their weapons, if they can get it figured out around playoff time, if they can get hot at the right time, just like the Buccaneers did last year, the Rams can make a deep run in the playoffs. So I'm going to end it on that, but I'm just saying that the Rams know that there's going to be some rough stretches during the season, but if they can get hot right around the playoffs, they can make a deep run into the playoffs. And I think they're going to figure it out right around then. So I wouldn't write the Rams I wouldn't write the Rams off just yet because I think they're going to do some great things moving forward. At number 7, I've got the Titans. Titans are an interesting team. They got to win. Were they on bye? I'm checking right now. I believe they were on a bye week. Yeah. No, yes, they were on a bye week. So, anyways, Titans on a bye week. They're obviously still 8-4. Here's the thing that is so key is they're getting AJ Brown back. And this is huge because I don't want to put the Titans out of the top 10 just yet, even though they've been on a rough stretch. Number one, this is why. They have not been having their top weapons. Obviously, Julio Jones, probably out for the season or a little while. AJ Brown is now coming back. That's going to be huge. And their 3 weapons, Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, and AJ Brown, have all been out. So I don't want to see the the Titans drop out of the top 10 when they've been healthy, they have been a top team. They have been a contender when healthy. If they can secure that playoff spot and get into the playoffs and maybe get Derrick Henry back, this team's a contender no matter what. They should start winning games because they're now getting AJ Brown back. So don't write the Titans off yet. Even though they've been playing a rough stretch of football, I would say the Titans have their best football, just like the Rams, in front of them because they've been having injuries. And I think that's a key part. And I mean, having weapons is important on your team because, I mean, your quarterback doesn't have anybody to throw to. So the Titans are at number 7, maybe a little too high for you guys. Let me know what you guys think about that. But I like the Titans still. I think they're a contender. At number 6, I got the Cowboys. I mean, this team is an up and down team, but they beat the Saints. They beat them convincingly, and they got back to their identity. Dak Prescott playing some good football. I mean, I really like what he's doing here. Let me pull up his stat line. 26 for 40, so pretty good. Tony Pollard is a standout guy that, Ezekiel Elliott, we've all said he doesn't have the burst. They're really using him for red zone only. He doesn't really have as much of the burst as he used to earlier on in his career. So what do? They're going right to Tony Pollard. He had 7 carries, 10 yards per carry. They beat the Saints last week. They're obviously playing. I'm not sure who they're playing. Let's see here. They are playing the Washington football team. So if they can get a win against the Washington football team, they practically have locked up they already have locked up the division, but I think, they're like, we don't really need you, Ezekiel Elliott, because we've already got Tony Pollard, who has fresher legs than Ezekiel Elliott did. So I like the Cowboys at number 6. I think was a hard power rankings to do because it's like Cowboys haven't been playing. None of these teams have really been playing their best football except the Patriots and Cardinals maybe. But so I got the Cowboys at number 6. I like the Cowboys a lot. And I mean, they've been showing that they are a pretty good team. There's a few things that they need to clean up, but I look at the other teams behind him. Are they better than the Bills? Yes. Are they better than the Chart? Like they can run the ball better than any of these teams. Maybe they're not as good as the Rams, but I think the Cowboys are a pretty damn good team. They could they can't really win in November. So that's why I'm like the Bills are like I mean the Cowboys are like they're an interesting team because they can't win in months of the year. They have a good start to the year and then they never seem to win in the later months. But they got back on track against the Saints. And I think hey, if they can keep winning, they're definitely a top 6 team. They have these hiccups though during the season. You'll see them lose a few games to the Raiders. Obviously, they're not great in the later months of the year. But hey, you know, they're still really good and they got back on track. So let's see if they can keep winning. Hopefully they don't drop one of these. Hopefully they don't lose a stupid game. But yeah, that's what I got to say on them. Not number 5. I've got the Chiefs. I think who did they beat last week? I'm pretty sure it was yeah, Broncos. Broncos. Yep, Sunday Night Football. That was a very interesting game. I mean, well, not really. They kind of trounced the Broncos. Their defense is looking really good. If you told me at the beginning of the year that the Broncos would have their defense would be better than their offense, I would say hell no. Hell no, because the Broncos, Chiefs' offense is not as good as their defense. And we were all expecting coming into the years thinking this Chiefs offense is going to be electric and their defense is going to be the one that is going to be lacking. It's the opposite. Their offense still looks very, how do you say it? Sporadic. It's not what we want it to be. They have some things to clean up on the offensive side of the ball, but their defense is looking better than they have in 4 years. I mean, their defense is looking really good. So, yeah, the offense isn't playing up to expectations. Their offense was expected to be the best offense in football. So, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year their defense would be better than their offense, I would have said, hell no, I'm not believing that. But at this point, it is more it's good for them, but they do need to clean up some things on offense. At number 4, I've got the Bucs. This team, when everyone's there, this offense is probably the most explosive offense in the NFL. You got Leonard Fournette, he's been having a heck of a year. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski. At their best, this offense is just explosive. They do get gashed in the run game defensively, but this offense is one of the best, if not the best run offenses in football. This team is just absolutely freaking insane when healthy. And the Bucs are going to make a deep run. That's just the bottom line of it. But yeah, at number 3, I actually have the Patriots ahead of the Packers here. Packers at number 3. I don't know what quite to think of this one, to where the Packers, they're a team that I think a lot of people have been saying, like, this team's the best team in the league. Well, there's weaknesses. There is weaknesses in this Packers team that I don't know yet, but they're just the way they play. It's just like they turned it over quite a bit against the Rams, and it's just like I going against the Patriots. Here's the weakness. Going against the Patriots. Let's say they go up against the Patriots right now. They would get gashed in the run game defensively. They would actually get pretty broken defensively. And so the Packers, there's not a whole lot of weaknesses, but the one thing is, like, the Packers, could they match up? I don't think they would be able to match up with the Patriots run game defensively. I don't think they would be able to stop the Patriots run game. And I think the Patriots defense, if you're matching them up right now with the Patriots, I think the Patriots defense would actually somewhat be able to shut them down. Again, like Jake Ellenbogen the other day when I was doing a show with him made a very good point. The Packers they kept it close with the Rams. That game should have been over a long time ago. The Rams turned it over so many times in that Packers game. But what did the Packers do? The Packers punted, and the Packers turned it over again. So the Packers aren't necessarily that all-star team as we want to think of them. They still turn the ball over. They still are a they still make mistakes. And at the end of the day, that will kill you in the playoffs. And so there is weaknesses. Even though we want to see the Packers as a great team, I don't know. There's something wrong with the Packers. They could have ended that game when they played the Rams. The Rams turned it over quite a few times. They could have ended that game. Instead, they made it a 10-point game at the end of the game, and it was actually kind of close when it shouldn't have been. So Packers haven't been able to finish games. They haven't been able to really clamp down on the opponent's throat. So therefore, good teams don't do that. So Packers do have a weakness. We will probably see it more in the playoffs, but I think if you match them up with the Patriots, there'd be some flaws. At number 2, I've got the Patriots. I think it's pretty impressive what they did to the Bills. This team, I still think if you matched him up against the Cardinals, they'd be able to run all over them, but the Cardinals' offense is freaking dynamic. It's really close. I would put the top 2 tier. I would probably put the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are just a step above them. Like, I don't have a whole ton of reasons why the Patriots aren't number 1. The Cardinals have just looked really explosive all year long. Maybe the Patriots offense, but there's just not a lot to say for this Patriots team. I mean, this team really got after Josh Allen on Monday night, getting quite a few sacks. They got let me see here, 3, I believe it was. Anyways, getting after Josh Allen, getting pressure on him. This team just looked really, really scary defensively. Now, offensively, I still have questions. Mac Jones is really good, but if you can kind of this is how I think the Cardinals will beat the Patriots. Let's say they meet in the Super Bowl. This is how they beat the Patriots. You make the Patriots throw the ball. You get up early. Let's say you get up early against the Patriots. It's 14-3. Now you say to Mac Jones, you have to throw the ball. I think, even though Mac Jones is a good passer, I think that's not his greatest strength. And so you get Mac Jones throwing the ball, you get pressure on him. I think this guy has weaknesses. If you get up on them early and they have to start passing the ball, I think you've won the game if you're playing the Patriots, because you force Mac Jones to throw the ball. And so I think if you get pressure on Mac Jones, you get him to be you make him be a good passer, this team could be shut down. It's kind of like the 49ers in 2019. The defense was so good, it covered up all the offense's flaws. So I think the Patriots, even though they're number 2, you get up early against Mac Jones in games and he will fall. And so, I don't know. Patriots offense, I still have questions about. Last but not least, this show has went a lot longer than the Patriot than I intended it to. But last but not least, you got the Cardinals. Their offense is dynamic. Their pass defense, is better than we thought it would be. Their linebackers are really good. They've got the best tandem in the league. And the style that the Cardinals play here is on defense is fast. It's not a slow style of defense. Their linebackers, if you pay attention, are flying around the field at all times. You check it down to a running back. Isaiah Simmons is right there. So they're such a fast-paced defense. It's really scary. Now, they do get gashed by the run game, but I think the fast-paced way that they play covers up all of the flaws that the run defense has. And so they fly around the field. Their linebackers fly around the field. They're a fast team. And offensively, everyone healthy. They're a very dynamic team. With Kyler Murray, he's maybe going to win the MVP this year. So they've arguably got the best player in the league. This team could really make it deep just because their defense is a fast-paced defense. It's a defense that none of us has ever seen before. And their offense is so dynamic. I think they're the best team in the NFL. What can I say? So that's my power rankings for you guys. I am sorry that I couldn't make it shorter. Ramin says, "You remove Aaron Rodgers. The Packers aren't good. We saw it when the Packers played the Chiefs." Oh, I mean, I absolutely believe it. You remove Aaron Rodgers, and this team kind of sucks, you know? No, I completely. Sorry, I didn't get to your question earlier. I think that question was up there a few minutes ago. I'm sorry, guys. That would have helped, though. Yeah, I mean, that's a good explanation to why the Packers aren't that good. The Patriots better be number one. Ooh, well, they're not. Sorry I didn't answer that a few minutes ago, guys. I was looking too much at the myself. I was looking at me talking. I was thinking of what I was gonna say. I was looking at the banners right here. Then I didn't realize there were comments. So keep pouring in those comments. But yeah, you know, Patriots are number two. You know, they're close to number one. Them and the Cardinals are close. I I don't know, you know? I like the Packers a lot, but I just don't whenever I see them, I don't have a good feeling about them. I just don't, you know? I don't I really there's something off with the Packers. I don't know. They're still a good team, but I still think they have weaknesses, and so that's why I gotta put them number 3, you know, because the Packers, they're just slightly off. I don't know. There's something it's weird. It's really weird. I'm not sure how to explain it, but yeah, Amin has a good point here. You remove Aaron Rodgers, like I said before, like he said before, you remove Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers aren't good. We saw it with the Chiefs, and the Patriots are not number one. It's the Cardinals, but like I said before, Cardinals and the Patriots are very close. Again, Cardinals, I like the way they play defense. Obviously, their run games gets gassed quite a bit, but I like the way they play defense. I like the way that they fly around their field. The linebackers, uh, why do you keep robbing the Pats? Like, I hate them too, but they're simply the best. Why do you keep robbing the Pats? Like, I hate them too, but they're simply the best. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. That offense, I feel like if you take away the run game, the Patriots stall. I really do think so. Um, I mean, he says here, I don't know how much they have to show all the doubters. Oh, sorry. Uh, I don't know. They have showed up the doubters for sure, but I don't know. It's just you take away that run game, I feel like, and this team is all of a sudden not as good as you would think they are, you know? Mac Jones, I think if you get up early on the Patriots, you make Mac Jones throw the ball and get pressure on him, you could really see the Patriots, be a pretty good team, but not great, you know? There is a reason why they started off 2-4. Everything's clicking, but there is some weaknesses, and I think it's the Patriots really haven't had to pass it a ton. And so when you're down in big games, you're going to have to pass it. And that's where I think they're going to fail. But yes, they are definitely a Super Bowl contender. Um, but yeah, I mean, just the way I like the way the Cardinals play defense, like I said before. It's very exciting, even though the run game isn't very good. So I'll see you guys later. This was a good show, everyone. Week 14, I believe, power rankings it is, but I mean, it's wait. He has another one. The defense is so good this year. They made Josh Allen $280 million man look average. That is true. I mean, that's a point that I was going to make earlier on in the show. That Josh Allen, I believe, I mean, he was paid to be a top 5 quarterback. This year, he really in the previous years has looked amazing. I mean, generational. This year he's good, but he's not generational great like he's been in the previous years. So he's definitely not as good. Um, he's definitely not as good as he has in previous years. And I mean, I do agree with you there, but we couldn't have this argument all day long. I don't know what else to say about it. So, anyways, I'll see you later, everyone. This has been a fun Power Rankings show. We'll see you in the next one. Probably next week. Monday, a show with Rob Shu. So we will see you guys then with Rob Shu, and then whatever is next. But I probably won't be on for the rest of this week. So we'll see.